welcome back. I've got Aslak de Silva on the line. Aslak, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Michael. And you?
I am very well. Looking forward to this conversation. So why don't you share a bit about you and then we'll start our conversation.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So yeah, I'm Aslak De Silva, and I'm the CEO for Selfie Store. We do intelligent vending machines. Are big in Europe with more than 20 countries covered with customers. So are a market leader here. We have a very international team with 15 different nationalities, and exciting times for these kind of new innovative solutions. And prior to this, I was 4 years a CEO for Nordic Business Forum, which is a leadership conference with speakers like Richard Branson, Brené Brown, even Barack Obama coming to the Nordics, and tens of thousands people watching online event, and then almost 10,000 people in physical in the audience.
Kind of dramatically different work things, but I see some synergies there. But especially when you're trying to coordinate things, whether it's coordinating speakers for an event, working with all the IT stuff and making sure that the streams are working, to the vending machines, making sure that they're working and they're communicating back with inventory levels and to see what products are moving and which products haven't been moving a little bit is definitely some synergies that I see there. So what got you into the vending side of things?
Yeah, there was a great opportunity to kind of join the team, and they were looking for a CEO to kind of scale the operations to be internationally successful. So I felt that is something that I love doing. So I'm kind of a growth oriented leader. At the same time, I'm seeing the world changing. So that's maybe before COVID, the world looked different. Then after COVID, it was different. So I personally hate queuing a lot. So then I was thinking that maybe here's a solution for all of us, that we get whatever we need at the right time, and even the products are close to us and so on. So I felt that this is going to change the world. And so that's why I joined the team.
Well, I'll share stories like at airports, for example. I'm seeing more and more of these types of machines being available. It used to be, okay, your vending machine was, some food or candy or maybe a bag of potato chips or something like that. Now it's, electronics and earbuds and charging cables and other things that people often forget. For example, in an airport when they're getting ready to travel. It's like, oh, I forgot my charging cable or my earbuds broke, and you can buy them there. And the beautiful thing about them is, especially for businesses, they're looking to sell products, whether it's books or snacks or accessories or you name it, gifts. Especially around the holidays, even small gifts that'll fit into a machine, or even depending on how big the machine is, maybe something even a little bit larger. But I think the opportunities are there, one, to be able to do it. Two, you don't have somebody standing there for 8-hour shifts, working and ringing things up and, processing charges and having to keep a, cash register with, cash and things like that. Everything, is handled by the machine. So it streamlines it, and it also takes up less space as well than a full-on kiosk where you see a queue of people. And, I find that all the time, even, buying transit passes, for the subway system. Yeah, you could go to a counter and wait in line and, load it up or buy a card, or you go to a machine and you load it up and, it takes you a minute and takes care of it and you're well on your way. So I agree that I think, convenience and accessibility and availability of a variety of different things goes a long way. And there's unlimited growth opportunities internationally, of course. And, I'm in North America, so I see these things, working quite well all over the place. So definitely opportunities to expand for sure.
Yeah, you're nailing it right there, Michael. And then the predictiveness of what should be sold at what time, at what price, is the one that I think is going to change the world a lot. So, like you said, at the airport, so whether are there business travelers or maybe families, so basically you have the data available, all the information is, but it's very seldomly taken into account what is sold at what price. So if it's a leisure flight, so maybe you're buying different things. If it's a business flight or business class and so on. So all these kind of information, the data collection is super important. And what we work with our customers is that since we have customers in more than 20 countries, so we are combining the full pack of data and seeing what happens. What happens on a hot day compared to a cold day? What happens on a holiday compared to a normal busy work day? What happens at noon when the lunch rush is big? And utilize this data to predict what's going to happen, which will then, of course, increase the revenue of the ones who are operating self-service stores. But at the same time, the consumer experience enhanced a lot since a simple example, on a hot day, beverages are selling more. And so the consumers are happy that when they come to a location where they are served with the products that they need. So that's the big change that's going to happen. So not just having a standard vending machine where everything is static and the pricing is static. But as a late night flight might have a dynamic pricing where the meals are a lot cheaper and then the consumers are happy to get them on a decent price, as an example.
Yeah, I see a lot of that. When we're talking even in North America, some of the fast food restaurants are considering what they're referring to as surge pricing, but it's supply and demand. If there's a huge demand for things at lunchtime, then the organization should be able to monetize that because there's obviously cost involved with running a business. And if you can up the price of a bottle of water, for example, by 20 cents or something like that, well, you're gonna, capitalize on that, and you should be able to do that. And again, it's a matter of convenience as well, because if it's lunchtime, if you anywhere near an airport or a restaurant area or a strip mall that has all kinds of different things, you basically look at the line and you go, ugh, no. But if there's a vending machine there that'll sell you basically the same thing, maybe charge you a little bit more, but you're getting your time. You're saving some time there, so you're not standing in a queue for a long time. You go to the machine, you pay for it a little bit extra, you get the same thing, you walk out the door, and you don't have to worry about waiting in line or being late or missing a flight or something like that. Because I see that all the time where people will be running late. They don't have enough time to eat. They get on the plane. There's no food service on the plane because it's a shorter flight. But still, because they, weren't able to schedule their time accordingly to make sure that they got food. It's definitely those quick options are what people want and desire. So, placing these machines in strategic locations, and again, with all the data that you're pulling from all over the world, you can tell it's like, okay, Sunday mornings, these machines are not selling any of these. Okay, well, if it's a dynamic machine, it can rotate out the stock and say, okay, we're gonna, rotate the thing out and have it be this that does sell. That way, you're not having stale inventory. You're moving things along, and you're stocking things at the right time. I'm thrilled and excited about the innovations that this field is bringing, and your team is at the forefront of capitalizing on these new innovations. And again, with utilizing AI, for example, you're going to be able to analyze the information that you're capturing even more to the point where you're going to be able to get pinpoint right down to, 15-minute blocks or 10-minute blocks. And it's like, okay, it seems like there's a lot of flights that go out at this time. They are buying these things. So make sure that we adjust the price accordingly. This, and again, everyone benefits from it because there's more inventory to buy. And then the price is good for everybody involved.
Yeah, you're totally right. And the dynamic price, I will always believe that when the price is right, so everything is sold. So sometimes the items that we're selling maybe are too highly priced, and then you can immediately change them, make bundle deals that buy two together, say 50% or so, and people are intrigued by that. One funny thing that we found with an AI that you mentioned there was people were many times asking which sells better, Pepsi or Coke. And we ran the data search with an AI and found out that actually you should have them both. since that not only increases the amount number of consumers that come, but they buy more at the time. So some prefer Coke, some prefer Pepsi, but they are actually buy more at the time when they see that the vending machines have them. And with our system with selfie stores, you actually can open the door and hold the items in your hand, which also increases the buying, that you buy bigger basket size at the same time when you can just look at them and feel them and get the feeling that I want this and that. And then sometimes people even ask from their friends that you want this as well, and they grab it alongside. So it's not a single item you press a code and put coins in and wait for something to drop. You just can buy 5 items, 10 items at a time and just move forward and do that in 10 seconds. So that's quick and swift for you, right?
Definitely, and it allows for the upselling of things, which just happens naturally instead of having a clerk say, we're running a 2 for 10 special, or would your friend like one of these things? It's something that like, hey, I'm getting, I'll get that too. It's like, well, you know what? If we buy it's this and this, you want anything else? Next thing you know, that purchase that was going to be maybe a single bottle of Coca-Cola ended up being 2 bottles of Coke, or 1 bottle of Pepsi, 1 bottle of Coke, a bag of chips, a chocolate bar, or who knows what else. And, all of a sudden you've made a huge sale when it could have just been, a single bottle. So again, it's that enticement and the tactile, like you mentioned, to physically be able to hold the product. I think that was one of the things that was lost during the COVID pandemic, is when people were buying things, everybody was buying online, which is fine, but some people want that tactile touch of being able to physically touch something before they buy it, or go look at it and see it. And, to be able to have that as an option is a huge game changer.
Yeah, for sure. And I fall into these traps all the time, especially when traveling, that you buy the next one and get 50% off. So I mean that's the best deal for me. I always feel
Mhm.
that I have to go for the barking and get more candy bars or Coke or whatever that is. But that is true. That has changed. And when you touch and feel, so you get a feeling that this is mine already. So that's why it increases the basket size for purchasing from vending machines as well.
Absolutely. Now, earlier you had sent over an article from Forbes about burnout and work-life balance, and I always like to get to the insights of people, especially busy entrepreneurs like yourself, on some of your observations about harmonizing your work and your personal life, and doing things to make sure that you stay above any type of situations where you might burn out. So I'd love to hear your insights on that.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for asking. So I don't I believe in this kind of Tetrising your life. So I mean that there are several blocks that are important for you. They might be different, people have different ones, but for me, for instance, then of course there's family, there's health, there's work, there's then maybe I like to train and educate myself. So all these blocks, there's kind of a never a time when everything is in perfect balance, but then you can fit the blocks in different ways. So as an example, what I do is I have 2 daughters who are figure skaters. So they train a lot. So they have training every day, several hours. So I take them to training. So while I drive them, so I can have time with them, talk with them and hear about their day. But I go to training myself while they train. So I'll be watching and doing a skip rope, or maybe a power wheel of doing pull-ups while they're training. I often listen to some audiobook, or sometimes I even invite business friends to train with me. So I kind of do these super hours where I do many blocks of these at the same time. When I'm there training with my daughter, so my wife gets some free time, so she can relax. And then when I come home, so I have done the training. Then we can, with my wife, maybe spend the evening watching TV together. So trying to manage these blocks in a way that makes sense, and try to utilize these kind of super hours where many things are done at the same time. So then you save more time for the others, and then not forgetting. And of course, when I'm traveling for business, so I don't have my family there. So then I may be doing more of these blocks. So I'm spending more business hours working harder, but also training in the morning, so that I take care of these. And then when I come home, so I'm tired, but then I don't need to do the training since I did it there already. So kind of trying to Tetris in your life in a way that recognize your blocks that you have and try to fit them in a way that you can routinely follow. I think that's super important to have your calendar in place, put them the blocks there, so then it's more of a routine. And things happen in life, but then it's easier to kind of cope with the situation changes when you are kind of routinely following your path.
I love that. And I'm a big fan of blocking your time and allocating it to certain endeavors. And a key thing that I find, and it sounds like you recognize this as well, is figuring out the right times for those blocks. I mean, by taking your daughters to figure skating, and yes, that's a lot of practice, that's a lot of ice time, and you're there for quite a long time. You're maximizing on that. You're getting in your physical activity or your mental activity by learning different things, listening to audiobooks, which is I'm a big fan of, and or podcast or watching training videos on things to learn more about the sector you're in or learn about new opportunities somewhere else. It's a great opportunity to keep yourself productive, while you're spending time with your daughters. And what that does as well is when the workday is done, and the workday should be done. I know entrepreneurs don't like hearing that, but there should be a time where you're not working. I know it's addictive because you're creative and you love it, but you got to kind of shut down because that allows the creative juices to flow in your brain, and you get to spend time with loved ones. Or even if you're single, then you can, you know, do some things that you enjoy doing, whether it's watching a sporting event or reading or listening to music or writing or painting, whatever. When you have those moments of singular things, where you're not watching the game and working at the same time kind of thing, but you're actually really watching the game, those ideas are going to come because you've trained your brain to do that. But what you do is you just keep a little notepad or maybe open up a notes app on your phone, type the idea in, and then go back to it at a scheduled time in the next day or two and say, okay, I'm going to get back to those to-do notes. And I do that all the time because an idea will pop up. I'm like, I'm going to write that down. So jot it down, then I go back to it, and hopefully I remember the inspiration behind it. The more, if you're forgetful of it, then take a little bit more detailed notes. But still, that way, when you're ready to work on those things, you can do it, and you're not taking away from a leisure moment or relaxing moment with loved ones, or just doing your own leisure yourself.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, and I think there are like times in life where you need to be fully present, and then you need to be there. Then you do one thing at a time. But many times there are things that you don't need. It doesn't require full presence. So watching a training doesn't require full presence for me for the training, and the physical training itself as well can be quite easy and relaxing. That you're not fully concentrating on every movement with full. You're not a professional athlete there. So if you do it 80%, so again, it's more relaxing in a way and you get it done and you can continue there. It's not that serious. But then when you're with the family, you have your dinner, so you are fully present there. Put your phone away and you're talking and looking people in the eye and so on. So then save that energy for the important moments as well. So yeah, I think that is important.
Yeah, it's definitely important life advice for everybody involved. So, in closing, and we've kind of alluded to it and talked about it a bit, going back to, the vending machine side of things, where do you see things going over the next few years? Because I know the advent of technology and locations, without obviously giving away trade secrets or anything like that, where are some areas that you think we'll see more and more vending machines in areas? I know in Europe and Japan, they're all over the place. It's hard to go anywhere without seeing them. But North America, not as much. But where do you see things going with the vending arena over the next few years?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I wish I knew the answer. I might have some guesses where it could be. I do see a couple of trends happening. So one is that we're mentioning already the kind of the coincidental travel or something that along your way there's everywhere. So anything from your bus stop to the airport to the hotel you're going to. So these vending machines are more predictive that they know you're coming, so they know your profile, and then the goods that you need are there. If you are coming late night, so there's availability for maybe late night snack, a sandwich, and so on. And if you're in the morning, so it's maybe coffee and a bun or something to go with. Like you said already, this many vending machines will have many items, so they might have spare battery to umbrellas when it's raining outside. So kind of predicting that. The other trend that I do see is that if you look at the kind of the delivery market, or we talk like the last mile delivery, I do see this more like half-mile marketplaces or stores, so that they are not like the bigger grocery stores and bigger these shopping malls will have hard time. People are not kind of willing to go there where there's a lot of traffic. But like e-commerce happens, so I do see this kind of a vending commerce coming, that they're closer to you and you can order in things there, or you can check the inventory, and then we travel less for goods that are kind of closer to us. And then when we need something specific, so then we have other means to get there. So I do see this like maybe even food delivery from restaurants and others like lunch hours. So they're kind of more kind of half mile. So they're closer to you. So you're just willing to take those extra steps to get what you need, and just be more convenient in your life. So I do see that coming, that there's kind of the bigger installments are maybe going away, and it's more sparsely populated with vending machines, and even places where you don't have services will have some services. So those kind of trends, maybe not fully answering your question of the futuristic approach there, but something like this will happen in my mind at least.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a shopping mall real close to me, and I think of people that will park at one part of the mall if they're not familiar with it to go to, let's say, the Apple store, and then they realize that they should have parked by entrance number 4, and they parked by entrance number 8, and it's almost a kilometer walk to get there from there. So it's one of those things where they know, okay, actually I can order my iPhone or whatever and have it delivered to this kiosk, vending machine, directly from Apple or whomever, and go there in an appointed time, enter the code, it hands it to me through the machine, and I go home and everything's good to go. It's all about convenience and accessibility, and I think that's where your team and the work is going to continue pushing this forward to make things more accessible and convenient for consumers and more profitable for those organizations that are investing, their time and their effort and their resources into bringing these great products and services to people. So, Aslak, I've loved this conversation. Where can people find out more about you and all this amazing work you're doing?
Yeah, probably our website, selfistore.com, is the easiest way, and follow us on social media, especially on LinkedIn. We are pretty active there, and me as well. So if you want to share thoughts or on leadership or vending machines, I'm happy to connect. So hope the conversation continues there as well.
That'll be great. And I'll definitely have that information in the show notes. So thank you again for your time today. Really appreciate you and all this amazing work you're doing.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate being here. Thanks.